Yeah, so I mean, I was walking through Omaha yesterday and started going in and out of all these different bars and restaurants. Turns out Omaha has a ton of history that I had no idea about. All the way from the 1900s, down from like the Transatlantic Railroad, the Roaring 20s, the 60s and 70s with the mob bosses and all that kind of stuff. This is an amazing, amazing brand centric city, and people don't even ever realize it.
Welcome back to the Creative Block. We are so glad to be back, and this week you're in for a treat. We've got Chirag Speaks here in from New York City. He's a brand historian here to break down a fascinating deep dive into Omaha's rich historical history. Let's dive in. Chirag, just for your information, so as you look around here, this is what it takes to put on the Creative Block podcast. The lighting, the cameras, the mics, the audio, the space we're in right now is a creative. I'm sorry, the Culture House, which is owned and operated by Marcy Yates.
Okay.
He is a creative. He's a recording artist here in Omaha, Nebraska.
Nice.
How much time and why? First of all, okay, what I want to ask you is how many times you've been to Omaha and why are you here?
I've been to Omaha. This is my second time, and I can confidently say this time it was for you, right? But last time I was here, it was for a conference. So by trade, I'm a brand historian. I'm a marketing speaker, right? So I get to travel the world giving talks at different conferences and colleges. And I was here speaking at MWEC, right? Which was the Midwest Entrepreneurship Conference. It's hosted by UNO here in Omaha. And it's just a beautiful chance to bring a couple hundred students together and pretty much inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs.
How much time have you spent like in the Midwest before?
Barely, man, barely. So I'm from New York City originally, right? And most of my work tends to be like New York City, California, Florida, New York City, California, Florida. And rarely do I really get to make it out to the Midwest. Yeah.
Pretty crazy to see the juxtaposition of these. I mean, Omaha is kind of surprising.
It is shocking, man. Omaha is shocking.
I lived in New York City from 1999 to 2007. And then I moved to Los Angeles and I came back to Nebraska after I was born in Omaha. I was raised in a small town, Norfolk, Nebraska. Yeah. Then I moved to New York City. Then I moved to Los Angeles and I came back to Nebraska and I thought to myself, there's no way I'm staying here. I'm going to go back to New York and I'm going to do something else and figure it out. And I got to Omaha and I was like, this is actually a pretty great place to, start a business, make a life. And that's exactly what I did. And I couldn't believe that it's become what it's become. I mean, it really is a really cool place to be an entrepreneur.
Mind blowing. A few things. One, right, is there's such a huge, rich history. I myself actually didn't even know. I got here, dropped myself off at the hotel and just started walking around, meeting like a bunch of different businesses and restaurants and stuff. Started learning a bunch. I mean, this place used to be known as like the city of vices in a way, almost kind of like Vegas in the sense of come, have fun, neon lights. You had Mr. King Fong downtown as well, which was the first sort of Chinese restaurant to open west here, right? But it was known for being like a bunch of like drug lords and stuff like that as well throughout the history here. Obviously, that's not all of it, right?
Yes.
But in the roaring, so you had the 1900s, Gilded Ages, a ton of wealth here, all these amazing mansions. 1920s up until then is like super hyped and exciting. Everyone's making a ton of money.
You've been to the Joslin Castle?
Huh?
You know about the Joslin Castle?
I've heard about it. I haven't been yet. I need to go, right? But, and then right after that, Great Depression hits, right? And then all of a sudden you start to see that story start to unravel slowly. 60s, 70s is mob bosses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But now the fascinating thing is, right? So I know you guys just did I think it was a $400 million revitalization project, right?
Right.
And it was like this cantilever setup. There's an ice rink. There's this beautiful, I walked around the water and stuff.
Pretty cool.
And I think what I'm noticing over time is that Omaha is really intentional about building what the future looks like while still honoring the past.
For sure.
Yeah.
The one thing though that I've noticed is Omaha's not really used to scaffolding, construction.
So, dude, my Uber driver was so mad.
Yes.
This man was frustrated. He was like, every day new construction. And I was like, oh, okay.
New York City, coming from New York City, scaffolding's everywhere. So I mean,
you're used to it.
You're used to it, so it doesn't matter. You're used to jackhammers. You're used to honking horns and busy. Here, when we have sinkholes, and we have construction, we've got constant construction everywhere.
Yeah.
People are kind of up in arms about it, and
Really?
they're
Yeah.
having major issues. And there's a lot of politics around it. And there's a
Oh,
lot
I can
of
imagine.
people having
Yeah.
issues. We have a new mayor, and it's
Yeah.
not really the new mayor's issue. It's
Yeah.
really only been, since
Yeah.
the new year. So we're not really blaming the
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
mayor because this was politics
Yeah. Yeah.
before that.
When did
But
the mayor come in?
I'm sorry.
When did the mayor come in?
The beginning of the year.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but the problem is that when people see the
Yeah.
new, they want to, start attaching blame where,
Yeah.
or, and
Yeah.
different things. And so there's some small businesses
Yeah.
I mean, 50%, little over 50% of Nebraska is small business.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and, there's about 1.8 million people in the entire state of Nebraska,
Okay.
and 1 million of them live
Yeah.
in Omaha.
Really?
Yeah, or in the
Yeah, or
in
around. Yeah, 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 yeah.
in
It does
the
give a
metro.
very condensed. Yeah, yeah.
So when you've got most of the population just in this area
Yeah,
right
yeah.
here,
Yeah.
you've got a lot of small business.
Yeah.
And when you've got a lot of construction, it can hurt a lot of,
I can imagine. Yeah.
so there's a lot of businesses that are struggling right now.
Yeah.
And you've got a time when inflation
Yep.
and gas
Yep.
prices. So there's a lot of people kind of hurting.
Yeah.
So anyway, the reason I'm saying that is because yes, things are growing. There's a lot of infrastructure, but now you've got a lot of people going, yeah, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are happening, a lot of growth, but there's also a lot of like tumult.
Yeah.
And so what do we, how,
Yeah.
do you want to start a business right now?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of like
It's calculation.
opportunity,
Yeah.
but then there's also a lot of question
Yeah.
marks.
It's interesting because I'm reminded of this phrase where it's progress is often a gift to the future
For
generation,
sure.
and on the burden or a
The
burden to the
right,
current generation, right? So
100%.
I think it is very easy for us to zoom out and say, look, Omaha needs to revamp. It needs to go into the modern century where there needs to be construction and all this kind of stuff. There's a rich history. Let's pull from it and all. But the reality is, what that looks like physically on the ground is disrupted streets.
Yep.
It does look like
Yep.
disrupted business.
Yep.
It does. And then, not to mention, I mean, you mentioned we're in the middle of technological, societal, political changes that we have, I mean, as humanity we've seen in the past, but never at a scale and rate that we're seeing right now, right? But there are lessons for us to learn, and we can talk about that, right? Like, how do brands survive these periods of chaos and this uncertainty? There's a lot of lessons we can pull from history to pull from that.
I mean, you cannot. I mean, it's
Yeah.
always been said. You can't make things unless you
Yeah.
break other things. I
That's-
mean,
You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, right? The
right. I
constant
mean,
thing. Yeah.
that's the cliche, but it's 100% true.
But the problem with cliches, right, is often we forget that there's humans behind them, right? I haven't seen, to be honest, like what the sort of reach out program has looked like from the city and all, and like how they're communicating and working with these businesses. From what I'm seeing, right, for example, I walked through, what was it? Not Farnham, the Old Market Passageway. Right?
Sure.
Walked through the Old Market Passageway. The story, if your viewers don't know, right, is damn, do you remember the name of the guy by any chance? Old Market Passageway. His name was very specific. But he was an Omaha-born lawyer, moved to Paris, got really sort of inspired by how they.
Oh, yeah, Mercer.
Bang,
Yeah.
Mercer, right? Yeah. So Mercer, he's an Omaha-born, I believe, lawyer, moves to Paris,
Yep.
falls in love with the sort of architecture and how they preserve history, and decides, you know what, Omaha needs to do the same. We
There
do
you
need to
go.
become modern, but we need to hold on to the
Sure.
stories that existed. So he bought up a bunch of like warehouses and stuff, and between two of them, he's built this passageway.
Yeah.
And the passageway is
Back
just
when it was the Jobbers Canyons and all that, so the old Jobbers Canyon.
yeah. And it was just beautiful to go through that scene. But one of the cool things there is they're very strict, no chain stores, right?
Yep.
It's only local like
Yep.
restaurants and local shops. And one of the shops I think has been there for like 50 or 60 years now.
Mhm.
I think that to me feels like a more optimistic, powerful way forward. Change is coming. We need to revamp. But that doesn't mean that we have to do that and you have to put everything you're doing on pause while we do this. Come on this journey with us, right? Allow us to revamp this. Allow me to include you in that storytelling and some of that decision making so you feel a sense of agency, right?
Yeah, I think so there were a lot of decisions that were made to when ConAgra came in.
Oh yeah, I heard
you
the
know,
story. Yeah.
so they came in 30 years ago now, and said, okay, we're going to come here and create all these jobs.
Yeah.
But what they're going to do is they're going to take out Jobbers Canyon and we're going to
Mm.
modernize it. We're
I
going to
saw it
put
was
it,
like,
and you took that walk where the fountain, you saw the
exactly,
fountains
I
and all the,
think it
it
was like
looks really
28 or
beautiful.
29 buildings.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
like the largest loss to the National Register of
And there were
Landmarks.
people
Yeah.
at the time, obviously, against it. And
Yeah.
then there were people, obviously, for it because it's going to bring in jobs.
Yeah.
It's this big company.
Yeah,
It's going
yeah.
to create thousands of jobs. It's going
Yeah.
to bring economy.
Yeah.
So people are like, yes, but no, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens if they want to leave? Well,
Exactly.
they left.
Which they did. Yeah.
They left, went to
Yeah, yeah.
Chicago, all this
Yeah.
stuff. But then what happens,
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
leave, so, but you think about it now they're gone. They did bring, and
Yeah.
then now all the things that are there now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good that came from it, but now we kind of wish we had some of that old stuff back, some
Exactly.
of those old museums, some of those old
Yeah.
buildings.
But I've heard the city's starting to break that down into little
Yes.
districts, right? And
Yeah.
then starting to revamp each one of
Yep,
them. But like you
totally.
can't really bring back the history, but you can still honor.
They've
right?
got some really nice, there's some people that are pretty happy with some of the new condos that are over there, some of the
Yeah.
new restaurants that have come over there.
Yeah.
There's a great little park that's still
Yeah.
there. You saw that park that was they've got that fountain.
Yeah.
There
Was it?
are
Yeah.
some good things that have come out of it. And they kind of just talked about how Omaha was going to be like the city of like the future because it's right in the middle, and they were going to build this thing, and they're going to have like and all
And
this stuff.
for the audience context also is they had convinced was it Mercer who had convinced? No, it wasn't Mercer. It was
This was
Farnham. There was a Farnham was his last name.
Yeah.
He convinces President, I forget which president was at the time, convinces him pretty much that instead of letting any of the other cities have it, instead let us be, I believe, the first stop on the transatlantic railroad, which kind of brought in a lot of the wealth into this area as well. And then that's what created the Jobbers Canyon.
Yeah.
Jobbers was a nickname for people who worked in wholesale. So imagine a city just full of people constantly working in these wholesale big pallets, putting them onto ships or onto trains and stuff. Pretty hard work, but also then makes sense why you have amazing restaurants, food, drink, partying here. It really makes it is really a city where people work hard, party hard.
The Missouri River's right here.
Exactly.
So all those barges were going to come in, and it was going to be a huge hub right in the dead center of the country, and it was just going to be this huge. So ships would come in, or barges would come in, and then it would get on the railroad, and it would go, and it was this whole thing.
The history of the place is what honestly just I'm mind blown every single time, right?
Yeah.
And like what I do love is how much of like reclaimed material people use. So I've been going to quite a few like newer restaurants and sort of hotels and stuff here throughout Omaha. And what you're finding is like they'll have these really luxurious looking stuff. So you're like, wow, this almost feels like I'm in New York or somewhere. But then you'll look to the side and you'll be like, wait, that wood looks off, or wait, that brick looks different. And you'll ask, and they'll be like, that's actually reclaimed from a bar down the street that was really iconic that burnt down. Right. And so it becomes this
M's Pub. So you were at the Farnham Hotel?
Yes.
Yes.
I took a video in front of the wood pile.
So I worked at M's Pub for 10 years. When it burned down, Farnham Hotel built. And so they took some of that wood and used it for art at the,
Exactly.
They're famous,
and that's, normally I thought that was just going to be like a few places. That's common across the board.
Yeah.
A lot of the newer places I've been going to. And I mean, that even goes with like the passageway as well, right?
Yeah.
A lot of that is reclaimed brick from the streets of Omaha themselves, right? But I love that intentionality of, hey, let's bring in some of the past and like honor it while still making progress towards the future.
Omaha, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of the culture. It really likes to kind of keep. I mean, every city does have that. I mean, you're in New York and they do that too. I mean, but it's.
But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it so intentionally. I've seen it from the sense of like I've seen individual companies say, "Hey, because we care about this stuff, we're gonna do it." I've rarely seen the cohesion that I'm seeing. I mean, then again, I just had one evening last night, right? But I got to travel quite a lot around, and it was really fun to just see. It was like everyone seemed to be on the same page. We've got to honor the history, but we've got to move forward.
Everybody really knows each other pretty well around here, though. Too.
I can imagine,
especially everybody kind of knows people's name. They know somebody who knows somebody. There's not a lot of separation. It's more like 2 or 3 degrees as opposed to like 7 degrees. But Omaha's a pretty special place, and when you think of Nebraska, right? So something I really want to touch upon too, especially being here at the Culture House, is when you think of Nebraska, you don't think of like this sprawling urban landscape.
No,
you think of corn, right?
Dude, I told people I was coming. I was like,
right?
I'm flying out to Omaha to go give a talk, and they were like,
Nebraska?
in the fields?
Yeah,
like to who? Like,
you
have no, but It's so slept on.
I was in Florida for my bachelor party, friends
Yeah.
of mine, and we got in the Uber, and they're like, "Where are you guys from?" Nebraska. And like, it's cold there. I said Nebraska, and they're like, "Yeah." Everybody thinks like Alaska.
Yeah.
Because when you say
That's so
Nebraska,
funny.
they don't really
Yeah, yeah,
know
yeah.
what it is. So they think it's cold. I'm like, well, it does get cold,
Yeah.
but it also gets very hot.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway,
But it also gets like, didn't you have like yesterday was 80 degrees,
Yeah.
and then I got a notification on my phone going, hail has just hit parts of Nebraska. Like,
it's
what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll get tornadoes, and then it'll snow next week. So
That is
So
insane.
it is wild. Yeah. So anyway, prepare. Bring.
What do you mean prepare? How do you even prepare for that?
Bring a parka.
Dude, I was packing for this trip, and the freaking thing goes, it was like, it's gonna be 80 degrees every day. I'm like, I pack shorts and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then as we're leaving an hour before I leave for the
Yeah,
airport,
it's gonna
I check the weather and it's like, it's gonna be raining like thunderstorm every day. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I literally,
What is
I just, I
happening?
packed half and half.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll have to be prepared.
You have no idea. So the thing about Omaha specifically, though, we just elected our first black mayor.
Yeah.
So Omaha is actually a very urban city.
Yeah.
And so we're a very eclectic city.
Yeah.
I mean,
Would you say it's more liberal or conservative leaning?
So Omaha is known as the blue dot.
Oh, got it.
So we're the only,
Yeah.
so we're one of two states that splits our vote.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
So Kamala Harris actually won this city.
So interesting.
So she got one electoral vote for this city.
You know, I wonder if that's obviously. Look, I'm a branding and marketing guy. I'm not a politics guy, right? So I'm gonna. Of course, there are individuals much smarter than me on this. But I wonder if perhaps that becomes the middle ground for many of these states, right? Where there's this common argument right now is that the electoral college made sense back in the day when when it took months to get to Washington D.C. So you just sent two people. Right? You just be like, hey, you know it. Yeah. If he dies, you know it.
You're 100%. You're 100%.
Right? And now is it
back in the day?
needed?
Back in the day, that's what it was.
And it feels like an outdated system at the moment.
100%.
But the thing is, I'm very wary of changing the Constitution at all, right? I think it is hard and very rare for like societies like ours to be able to hold on to this document for so long, right? And I'd like for that to stay the way. But I do think perhaps that's the middle ground. Instead of getting rid of the Electoral College, create it so it splits. Right?
Yeah.
That's still more representative, I would say, of the will of the people.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to make sense for us. Nebraska is trying really, really hard to get rid of that.
Really?
Yeah, they're trying to. They're trying really hard to get rid of it.
Yeah,
because it's an extremely red state.
Yeah,
and they hate this blue dot.
Yeah,
because it was likely especially this last election in 2024 that this blue dot could have mattered. If the blue wall would have held up,
exactly, then this would have been
this state could have been the deciding
strategy,
but because it didn't, it didn't matter. But Maine's the other state that also splits the vote. So Nebraska and Maine are the two that split their vote. Anyway,
you've been out to Maine ever?
I haven't, but my wife's family though is from anyway.
Yeah.
But back to Nebraska, it's a unique state in that. But also, Omaha is one rare city that has this really unique demographic and dichotomy.
Yeah,
we have Native American, Hispanic, Black. We have some Iranian diaspora. You know that we have some. We do. We have some Muslim.
I was surprised
diaspora.
to find Indian. I found Indian food all over the place, and I was like, "This is wild."
We have Indian. We have a lot of Muslim. We have a lot of Sudanese diaspora. We have
why the like what attracted, like, it makes sense on the east and west coast because of ships coming in, but
because immigrant we have a lot of Afghan too. When things around, I mean, we have the space, we have the room.
That makes sense.
In the country, when jobs, farming, think about that, jobs, military bases. We have SAC, we have the Strategic Air Command, lots of military bases. There's obviously farming, packing plants. There's a lot of like, we have the space.
Exactly. No, you do.
We have the jobs. We have the economy. There's a lot of other reasons, but we have the school. It's safe.
Trucking
companies. There's
You know
There's a
what?
lot of reasons for it.
One of the interesting things was, about a few years ago, I was laughed out of a room because I was one of 5 people who was asked, "What could we do for" there was an area in the Pennsylvania area, the Lehigh Valley, right? "What are ideas on how to make this the next entrepreneurial hub," right? Similar to San Francisco or New York and stuff like that. A lot of my counterparts at the time were focusing on things like, bikes and, access to capital and all that kind of fun stuff, right? Which is great. Like those things matter. In order to have a successful entrepreneurial society, you need access to funding, you need education, and the ability to be able to grab a talented workforce, right? But the interesting thing is, have you ever heard of Michael Porter?
Yes.
Yes, he's a very famous economist, right?
Yes.
And he comes out one day with this idea of it was a social index or so, right? But basically, his entire idea was
Yeah.
an entrepreneur society, in order for it to exist, right? We often look at the fancy things, but those are a byproduct once it already
Uh-huh.
exists. What it really needs to exist is when you look down to ideation. People will come up with ideas, but do they have the time, capacity, and space and
Implement.
the agency to actually go and explore them? If most of your population is working 2 jobs in order to keep the lights on, they're exhausted in the morning,
Mhm.
they're driving their children to work because there
Mhm.
is no school bus system.
Yeah.
Those are minutes every single day that are going away. That
Yeah.
mental load, you could put all the funding in the world in front of that individual, but how will they ever have the agency or the sort of confidence to go and take that step,
Right.
right? So it was like one of the most interesting things. If you want to build an entrepreneurial city, the first thing you do is you invest in social programs.
Right.
You make the livelihood of the average citizen better than it has been before so
Right.
that you free up time and space for them to start ideating, to be willing to take risk. Because that's what entrepreneurship at the end of the day is, right?
Right.
I'm confident that I will take this risk and either this will work out for me and I'll be rewarded.
Right.
And if it doesn't, one of the things that makes, I think, the American system so different than all the rest of the world and why we see entrepreneurship the way that we see it here is that you are forgiven for your debts. You could go start a business, bankrupt the business, come and then 2 years later, you can go and start a new one, right? Your family can go and destroy an entire empire, and you can say, "You know what? I am my own individual person. I'm gonna go open my own business and grow." But that confidence, that individual sense only
Yeah.
comes if I believe in myself, but more importantly, I have the psychological safety that the people around me, if I fall, the system will still save me and push me back up.
So what is it what is your what is it you're trying to accomplish through, some of the things some of your messages
Yeah,
and some of the things that you're trying to do and
yeah.
and push people
Yeah.
towards?
If, just to close out that one quick thing, which is why I think Omaha, to be honest, I'm putting it on my list. Next 20 years. I mean, the next 20 years are also going to be they're very variable, right? But if I imagine to see this become an entrepreneurial hub very quickly because I think it has done all the right work of investing right now. I mean, there's always room and stuff to do, but I've rarely seen a city where you're excited to run around and walk around. You're excited to go meet people. There is access to resources.
Well, I mean, I think if we can get people to um be excited about using public transportation and
Yeah,
not, the problem that I've seen is people only want to drive and park.
yeah.
They don't want to get out of their
Do a
cars
lot of
and
fun. Yeah,
walk to places.
yeah, yeah,
They don't want to take public. If you look at our bus system right now, nobody's on them.
yeah,
The
yeah.
buses just drive around.
Yeah. Wow. Are the
They are
buses new?
empty.
Is that a newer thing or
No, they've been around. They've been updating them, but nobody uses the buses. There are certain neighborhoods that
yeah.
do because they have to,
Yeah.
obviously poor neighborhoods,
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. But if you look at they offer them and they
Yeah.
have them, but nobody's on them. They're empty.
Yeah.
These buses are
Yeah.
empty, and we have a streetcar coming in, and
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why the city is under construction because they're putting in a streetcar.
I see. I know exactly where it's probably gonna go. Probably right next to the Farnham because
Yeah.
they're
Yes.
ripping up that street right now
100%.
as we're there. Yeah, yeah.
And so and I think it's going to be good once it's in, and I think people will at first use it and it'll be cool. But I think in 10 years, I think it's going to be ghost town.
Yeah.
Everybody wants their car in this town. People love their trucks. People love the gas. People love their freedom to be in their car. That's just what this is the Midwest. This is Nebraska. People want their cars and they
Yeah.
love parking and they love that's what they want. And
Exactly.
that's what they're going to have. And that's what they're
Yeah.
not going away from it. And I don't care how many electric charging stations you put in. I personally would love to have an electric car, and I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
one, but I don't think people are gonna. People are just creatures of habit. They want what they want. They know what they know. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
Because it's
I'm pessimistic when it
yeah.
comes to it. Change. I like change. I'm good with it. I'm all about. I love new. I like updates.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
So I'll put it this way: the New York City subway.
Yeah.
Beautiful system. Everyone can gladly admit that it works, it functions, but it is outdated, right? And it needs to be revamped. It smells, it feels off, right? But if you talk to most New Yorkers, we'll hold it with pride, right? It's the MTA. Of course, we're
Yeah.
going to take the train. Of
Yeah.
course, we're going to take the
Yeah.
bus, right? We are a public transport city. I think
100%.
that is what makes the difference. Oftentimes, when we try to pitch new projects or products, we've pitched them on the features and the benefits that they'll provide, right? But
Right.
mainly focusing on the features.
Right.
Our new busing system will have 7 buses, which will cut down wait time by 30 minutes and you'll be able to get to blah, 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 right? Those are factual things that I'm sharing with you. But as long as I'm sharing those factual things with you, if they don't match with the identity you've created for yourself, you're not engaged. Oh, okay, cool. I'm good. That's great for the bus takers. But no, I and we are here in the Midwest, we've got Ford F1 trucks. Built America, built strong. Why would I ever give that up? And so I think that's
Well, they're built in Mexico.
yeah. But they're not wrong.
I mean, what are you talking about, built in America? So, I mean, you can tell yourself whatever you want, but
There's
they're built in Mexico. So,
I think
you know,
they've got their creativity on
yeah.
assembly and all that, right? But the identity component, and I think that's where it sucks, right? I think I tend to have a lot of empathy for people in public office because I think it is a very difficult job, right? Most other jobs, if you were to enter the job, you're expected to do essentially what the person before you did. Here's the set define of the deliverables, wait these many tables, get these many spreadsheets done, get this thing done. There's a finite way to be able to measure success. Politicians, for the most part, tend to be held to improvement on what was in the past. You could have a great a politician. The next mayor will always say, "I'm going to do better than that guy." Right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
setting yourself up for these insane. What you're trying to tout for is these massive wins. But what you're doing is you're often introducing new technologies, new systems, new ways of working to a population that is set in the way that they have, that has their identity, that is proud of the Midwestern cowboy era of that sort of the F1 of the driving and all that kind of stuff. The first thing you have to do is you have to change that identity. You have to shift
Yeah.
it. I think there's a really good example. Have you ever heard of Virginia Slim cigarettes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Virginia Slims, right, was in the 1960s, 1970s. We saw the uh, second or third wave of American feminism here. You saw the rise of this
Yeah.
hyper independent American woman who had
Yeah.
disposable income, right? And at the time, a lot of brands were trying to convince them to start smoking.
Sure.
Now, that to them was a weird identity marker. No, women don't smoke. I
Right.
don't smoke.
Right.
No, I don't do that. And so Philip Morris at the time, most companies would take male cigarettes, put pastel colors, flowers, try to sell it. Obviously, it didn't work. That's similar to what we do here. We take something that's worked in a different part of the country,
Sure.
knowing that our country is not unified. Our country is so large physically that we are multiple little countries essentially, bro. And
Sure.
that was the original premise of
Yeah.
America, right?
Yeah.
Was these
United State.
states,
Yeah.
yeah, the United
Yeah.
States are
Yeah.
actually united
Sure.
countries in a way,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
But we take something from there and
Mhm.
we try to just package it up. Oh,
Yep.
well, cool. Their buses are blue and whatever, but our colors are orange. We're going to do that, and we assume that people will just come.
Yep.
What Virginia Slims did was Philip Morris, and again, I don't condone smoking. I do think this was very predatory, right? But I do think it's important for us to learn from history,
Sure.
right? They interview a bunch of these women, and they ask like, why are you doing this? Why are you protesting? What's going on?" And they go, we want to be treated equally. We want to be treated fairly. We want to be seen as independent, powerful individuals. We're fashion forward. We're thinking forward, right? I want to be powerful. And so what they do is they come out with Virginia Slims. These cigarettes, they're slender, they're longer, so they're meant to be seen. It's a visibility thing.
Sure.
It's an arrogance thing. It's a defiance to
Yeah.
society structure. You want to see this.
Yeah.
One of the cool things they did was in their ads, they came out with a campaign that said, "You've come a long way, baby." Again, predatory, right?
Sure.
But the entire idea was, look at how far we've come, right? As women, look at how strong you are. And all their ads, instead of trying to convince you to buy Virginia Slim cigarettes, they were saying things like, look, they had all these ads with these powerful, women who were standing on like power poses and stuff and saying, look at this powerful woman. She loves Virginia Slim cigarettes. Would you like to be a powerful woman? Virginia Slim cigarette.
Exactly.
So it's selling the identity
Sure.
first.
Sure.
Same thing that Levi's did many years ago, where it was like they were originally for miners and they called them overalls. Moment the Great Depression hit, miners are gone. It now becomes the rugged cowboy gene. But it's not selling you going, oh, here are these overalls that these miners loved. You should buy them. They started going, the rugged cowboy of the West.
Yeah.
He wears Levi's.
It's going to be
What are you?
It's going to be a tough sell in Nebraska to get people public transportation and
Yeah,
get them.
the downside is
I totally
yeah.
understand what you're saying. 100%. 100%.
But it is the downside is the reason why like I tend to be empathetic to politicians is they are rushing so quickly to introduce things. And I'm not
Sure.
saying this is indicative of this group. I'm just saying in general, a
Right.
trend that I've noticed over history
Sure.
is they rush to push things out and they
They
realize
have
like
no choice.
they have no choice.
Their terms are,
Yeah,
2 years to a midterm,
that,
four to a term,
that,
and they have to rush. And I get that. I do
yeah.
understand. I do like term limits. Obviously, I don't want to change that. You do
Yeah.
want to, but I understand how politicians have to rush because we are instant gratification beings.
Bang,
We want
bang.
things right now.
Yep,
So
yep.
the public wants it now. It's like if
And it
I'm
has to
if
be better than what was from
and
before.
it does.
It does. You
If
have to
if
continuously
if I'm a
improve.
politician, it's like it's brutal. And
Yeah,
if I am a a loyal subject, it's like I want it right now.
yeah,
And it's like Mamdani,
yeah.
like he has to in
Shout out
100
to New
days.
York
In
City,
100
baby.
days, it's like he's got to. It's like
But
man,
his is such a good example of you know we if we bring it back to like the public transportation, if you're saying that they're struggling with it, right? What I would have loved to have seen early on before we invested into the actual systems is changing that identity, right? Like, let's shift what does it mean to be an like if the average Nebraskan citizen isn't going to say, yeah, I don't want to use public
The
transportation.
problem is
Can we?
the problem
Yeah,
is the average Nebraska citizen doesn't there is no
mm,
public transportation because think about Nebraska. It's all cornfields.
yeah, 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 yeah,
The Nebraska doesn't have Omaha is completely Omaha is completely different than the rest of Nebraska.
yeah,
So the rest of Nebraska does not have they don't consider Omaha is like another country. It's like
yeah.
Omaha
No,
is completely different.
and so I
So
would have
you
loved
got to
if there
think
was
of
this.
Omaha like
What do you
Kansas
call
City.
yourselves?
What's that?
What do you call yourselves?
I mean, we're a city.
No, no, no. Like we're New Yorkers. What do you call yourselves?
Oh, I mean,
See that now. See
yeah.
that if that is what I would invest in.
I mean,
I would invest in creating.
Omahans, but it's tough
Oh,
to say.
it's tough to say,
It's
right? So you
tough to
got to. I
say.
don't know what it. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I
You're
lived in
right.
I lived in
You're
Michigan for a
right.
summer. Loved Michigan. Right?
Michiganders.
Oh my
That's a
god.
tough
Okay,
one.
so I've got two
But
gripes.
that's
With
what they call
all
themselves.
people in Michigan,
That's a
right? I
tough
love
one.
Michigan. I think it's a
When
beautiful
I
place.
hear
Beautiful
it,
people.
it's a tough one.
It's tough. Michigan. No, as a New Yorker.
But
No.
what are Detroitians?
But and then this if you ever meet someone from
But I don't really like Floridians either. Floridians to me sounds like fluoride.
yeah, but it's the Michiganders. If you ever ask them where something is, they'll just lift their hand up and go, "Oh, you're here. You just gotta get here."
Yeah,
And it's
because
like, "Thanks, buddy. You did nothing for me. I
yeah.
still have to go look at a map that did absolutely nothing for me, right?"
Yeah.
But Michiganders, they'll hold on to it, right? I love you, Michiganders.
New
right?
Yorkers is the best name though.
New Yorkers is like,
it's
okay,
so
you take
easy.
a left on that, and then you take
Yeah,
right. I
yeah.
give you directions.
But what's great about New York is it's so easy.
Yeah, no,
because everything
it is a privilege.
perpendicular.
It
It's
is it is a
perfect, yeah,
huge privilege that
it's
we have
easy.
by
Yeah,
our city being
yep,
a grid for
yep.
sure. I forget how we were.
It's
Oh,
a
but like
perfect
so
grid.
that's like Omaha, whatever that might look like. I think it is important to create an identity, a persona, and I think part of the reason why it's so, especially over the next 2 or 3 decades that are coming in, is I think we're moving from what we call the age of data and optimization over to what I'm calling the age of coherence and resonance. And what I mean by that, or the age of clarity, right? We're still trying to figure out what to call it, but the principle here is we spent the last 2 decades being obsessed with data, data, data. The more I can learn, the more I can improve, the more I can sell, the more data I'll get. And the more data I can keep feeding into that, the better the system will become. Over time, politically, societally, and technologically, of course, with AI and machine learning, the barriers to entry to collect data and to categorize it and to create something out of it has become a lot easier. And it's only going to become easier. But if that happens, then that means that noise is going to expand as well.
Mm.
Now, what we've seen in psychological studies, from what we're seeing at the moment, is our ability to consume information is rising. So I think it's like now the average human brain can consume maybe about 120 bits of information per second, which, according to the paper I was reading, was about. And please check the paper, right? On all by all means, was it's almost like having two conversations at once. So my human brain can only, even if I were doing that, I'm using my full capacity, trying to have two conversations at
Hmm.
once
Hmm.
with two different people, right? So we have to know how that we're having a conversation, and then like I may be multitasking a little bit, but I'm using that brain power to do something else. If I'm limited in how much information I can consume, but the world is only getting noisier and noisier and noisier, what's going to happen is that certainty is going to start dropping, which is what we're seeing with the consumer index right now. I think the numbers have hit the lowest they've hit in almost a decade.
Hmm.
And some of the reports are saying even lower than that. And like ever since we started measuring it,
Right.
people are becoming less confident in the world. The noise continues to rise. And so over the next 2 or 3 decades, the brands that stand the test of time, and Omaha is a brand at the end of the day,
Yeah.
are going to be the ones that have the ability to create incredibly clear narratives and personas.
Well,
I'm
there,
lost. I need you to tell me who I am. Point that out for me, right?
yeah.
But go on, sorry.
Well, I mean, Omaha, the last 4 or 5 years has been considered one of the better places to settle,
Yeah, I can
based
imagine.
on
Yeah,
job security,
yeah.
based on cost of
Dude,
living,
I was on the plane.
safety.
On the plane coming over, the woman sitting next to me, we're talking about why we're going to Omaha, and she goes, "Oh, I'm just gonna go visit my friend. She recently moved out there." And both of us were like, "Why? Like, what could he?" And then we get here, and I'm like, "I get it.
I mean, it's
I get it.
safe,
It's
clean,
safe,
yeah,
clean, family oriented. There's
yeah.
so much to do outside. The
I
art scene
mean,
is
cost of
insane."
living, there's things to do. It's not too big to be saturated. It's not too
Oh,
small to be
no, no, here's the
boring,
greatest thing I could say. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm from New York. I had an espresso martini yesterday. I paid $8. Woo! Oh my God.
Yeah, I normally pay what, 16?
Are you kidding?
20,
23, bro.
23. Yeah,
23.
yeah. Because the espresso is probably 16.
Dude, it's ridiculous, man. I was like, the woman, she gave me the receipt for $8. I was like, no, no, I ordered not a beer. I ordered an espresso martini. And she goes, no, yeah, you're fine, honey. I don't know what's wrong. I was like, that's crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But
And it was good. It was,
oh, it was good. It was
yeah,
good.
yeah,
You know, yeah, it's funny because it's also like it's crazy how intentional some of these new restaurants and stuff are being. I was in a
yeah.
restaurant where they were telling me, I'm blanking on the name, I forget now. Is they have a grill? No, sorry, an oven, a wood burning oven that is flown in from Australia, and there's only about
Where?
less than 20.
Where'd you go?
I'm trying to remember where this was. It's gonna come to me. When it comes to me, I'll tell you.
Dude, you have to check out Clio.
You're like the fifth person to tell me that today
It's
alone.
it's hard to get in, but it's a great place, man. I mean,
That's wild.
go to M's Pub. I always gotta tell people to go to M's Pub. It's a classic.
But
It's an
didn't it burn
Omaha
down?
staple. What's that?
Didn't it burn down?
Well, it reopened.
Oh, okay, okay, it
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
Oh, got it, got it, got it.
yeah, yeah. But it's an Omaha staple. You got to go
Yeah,
there. I always tell it's
yeah,
still the best place. I mean, I still think it's an Omaha staple. Go there, but
yeah.
check out Clio, man. I think it's one of my favorite newer Omaha
It's Mediterranean,
restaurants.
right?
Yeah, it's
I
fantastic.
remember
It's
I
a
walked
great
past it. I thought it was a very,
atmosphere.
very clean
Good people. They
aesthetic. Yeah,
take care of the staff is great. They take care of you. It's
yeah,
fantastic. I always, if you go alone, I sit at the bar. Like
yeah,
I sit at the bar.
yeah,
But like if you're going with people, sit at a table. The hummus plates are fantastic.
yeah.
Like baba ganoush. Like it's just like my wife and I, like we
Yeah,
just
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
veg out.
You
Like
know, it's funny. Mediterranean food, I think, is making a big surge in the U.S. right now.
yeah,
But Thai food. Do you know
yeah.
the story behind Thai food
No, I
in the
don't,
U.S.?
but it's good.
Dude, yeah.
I don't know this. I don't know the stories about really anything. I
Dude,
just eat it.
dude, well, the story behind Thai food is perhaps the most interesting because Thai food, out of all other immigration populations here in the U.S., is disproportionately higher. Like, so the proportion of the amount of Indian Americans you'll have versus Indian restaurants in the U.S. or Chinese Americans and Chinese restaurants in the U.S. are much lower compared to what you have. Like, the Thai population is much smaller, but has a higher ratio of Thai restaurants. And so people start realizing, like, why are there so many Thai restaurants around the world? And you realize back in, I want to say 2008, 2010 area, right? The Thai government decided that we didn't want our brand to only be like cheap tourism and like a lot of the stuff that you could do when you have cheap tourism,
Okay,
right? So they decide, let's export our culture as much as we
okay,
can.
okay.
The government comes up with 3 designs of different types of restaurants. They train a bunch of chefs. The government's putting money into accreditation programs. So essentially, you would come in, say, I want to open a Thai restaurant in Nigeria. They would come in, they would give you all the training, all the resources, the pamphlet. You would choose which. They have 3 different categories, like a cheaper restaurant, a high-end version. Each one has a name, branding, menu, everything already done. And there's an army of inspectors that travel the world in order to go around and taste the pad thai to make sure it stays consistent around the world.
Damn.
That is we call that gastro diplomacy. And the entire idea is, if I can get you to eat, right, Thai food, fall in love with it, it's a lot easier for me to have diplomacy with you in the
For
future.
sure, for
Why,
sure.
leave the negotiation to one big high stakes
Yeah,
table when I
yeah.
can build millions of tables all
Well,
across
that's another
America?
version of soft power too, isn't it?
That,
I mean,
it
right?
is soft power in of
Yeah,
itself. That
yeah.
is, yes, yes, absolutely.
I mean, gosh. I mean, if you already love the food, how can you go to war with them?
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
Dude,
We
that's
like
what's wrong with this administration. They only eat McDonald. He only eats McDonald's, so it's like this guy. I don't even want to get on that. We'll leave that for another time. But we okay. We have to talk about you. We got to talk
Yeah,
about you. How you got started. Okay. Um, what what led you? What are you trying to
yeah,
accomplish? What are you? I want to talk about the Midwest
yeah,
Entrepreneurs
yeah,
Conference.
yeah,
I want to talk about what you're doing here,
yeah,
what your mission is,
yeah,
and kind of like what you kind of see the future of entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship,
yeah.
and what you're trying to accomplish, man.
Appreciate it, man. So to the audience that I'll share, right? My name is Chirag Speaks, and I am the brand historian. And what that means is I've dedicated the last 10 years of my life trying to understand how brands and more importantly, their narratives have evolved over the last 500 years. And given everything that's going on right now, I had a big emphasis on how do brands stand against or stand up against changes politically, societally, or technologically, right? Can we learn from what happened in the past and maybe pull some lessons forward? I thought I was going to discover something very complex, some like magic formula or something. No, it turned out to be incredibly simple. I found that the brands that stood the test of time, whenever things changed, weren't the ones that ran ahead and tried to keep up. It was the ones that actually took a step back and asked a really important question: is what is the story that I'm looking to tell right now? And that makes it completely different on how you approach the world and the uncertainty around it. And I can give a good example, which is Starbucks. So Starbucks up until 2008 was starting to see it was growing really, really well, but then started to see declines. Howard Schultz, the old CEO, was brought back in, and immediately he does three really important things. There's these big espresso machines that a lot of these locations had bought because his competitors bought them, and we had to keep up with the market and all. He immediately got rid of those big machines, brought back the little ones, which means now it's suddenly a little slower to make your coffee. We'll get there. Second thing he does, breakfast sandwiches have become a big hit because all other cafes had it, so we need to have it as well. Gets rid of the breakfast sandwiches. And the third thing that he does is the mobile app, fast ordering, all that kind of stuff. He goes, cool, we'll invest in that because people are doing it, but I don't want to put all our money there. And what he instead decides to go is, what is the story we are looking to tell? It is not that Starbucks is selling you coffee. It's not that like this is the place to get a cheap, quick cup of coffee and go. It's that we are selling you the Starbucks place. Starbucks is a community third space. Have you heard of the third space theory? Yeah. Hey, have you heard of the third space theory?
No,
So,
no.
third space theory is we have three places in our lives. One is work, where we're really productive, but we're not as creative and free, but we're collaborating with people. And we're home, where we're very creative, we're very free. But the third spaces become where they blend the two. So, think of a pub or a cafe or a park, places where you're still meeting a bunch of people. You can still be very productive and creative, but still be kind of laid back and have fun. These third spaces are great for coming up with ideas. That's why a lot of people say, oh, we were in a bar when we came up with the startup idea, or we were at Starbucks or something. That's what Starbucks wants to be, a community space for you. So, if that is the story that I'm looking to tell, then why did I get rid of the brick espresso machine? Because that hid the barista behind the machine. The smaller machines means that the barista can actually talk to you while they're making your coffee. Two, why did I get rid of the breakfast sandwiches? Because I want you to spend time in Starbucks. You can buy one cup of coffee, but I want you to be sitting there for 3 hours. How are you gonna sit there for 3 hours with the nauseating smell of these breakfast sandwiches? So they reverse engineered them to get them to have, like, very little smell and brought them back. And the third thing that he did was we invested very heavily in trying to be the fast coffee shop. We're not that. So let's take a lot of money and start investing in making it easier for people to stick around. Ergonomic chairs, Wi-Fi, wireless charging, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not that companies like Starbucks at that moment decided, hey, we're not gonna move forward with progress, or we're not gonna pay attention to the changes happening in the world. It's that before we make the decision to adopt something simply for the sake of doing it, we're going to ask, what is the story that I'm looking to tell? And that's the thing that I teach a lot of brands and organizations, right? I get to study all of these examples all throughout history and then bring them in forward to sort of advise. And as a result of that, I get to travel all around the world, speaking at colleges, conferences, and corporations all about this.
So the Starbucks example is great,
Yeah.
and that makes a lot of sense when it comes to, I mean, I love the example because it makes sense.
Yeah.
Get rid of the big, espresso machine so you can see.
But it
But
only makes sense after the story has been like
right,
it made no sense
it
to
makes no
anyone when
sense.
he did it when he first did it.
Right.
It was like, why would you get rid of the breakfasts? Why did you just get rid of
But
the
what doesn't make sense to
yeah,
me is so on the employee standpoint, they've closed a lot of their closed a lot of their union businesses. Did you notice
fact.
what they did to their
I
employees? Now
I
to the
can't yeah.
customers, what
Yeah.
they're doing for their customers, sure,
Yeah.
but they've kind of on the back end. And I don't mean, and I'm not
Yeah.
trying to get anybody
Yeah.
in trouble here,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
on the So
Look, I think it,
so
and
from a
it's definitely tricky, right? Like I go to quite a lot of conferences, quite a lot of podcasts, and like usually I'm sharing stories of some of the best. I'm pulling some of the best or worst moments of these brands, right? And unfortunately, the reality is that brands are and companies are incredibly complex
and I don't
organizations. Yeah,
I'm not a
yeah.
full on contrarian,
Yeah.
but I do like to kind of call
No,
balls and
and I think it's
strikes.
important. And what I think what you're doing is important because we can't always just focus on the rosy, right? We have to be able to compare and contrast. And I think it is a tough world. It is tough in that sense. Yeah.
So I, I I kind of I used to go to Starbucks,
Yeah.
and that's one reason I don't anymore,
Yeah.
because I'm kind of I mean, I'm pro union, because I do believe
Yeah.
that, y- I think employees first.
Yeah.
I just do.
I mean, your employees are your company, right? Yeah.
Customers are very important as well, but I think employees are more important.
Mm.
I think employees first. Yeah, yeah, you gotta, but you take care of your employees, I promise you customers will come, because
Yeah.
your employees are gonna be the ones that are gonna take care of the
Right.
customers, and
Right.
that's how I
Well,
feel.
it's funny because, or interesting because many years ago, Google had done this study, right? And by the way, my reviews are on my own only. I'm not,
Yeah,
representing my employers or any of my employers in any way or anything. Personal opinion only or public information. The Google had done a study many years ago called Project Aristotle, in which they tried to understand what makes teams successful. And like they thought, "Oh, okay, cool. It must be if we throw a bunch of smart people into a room and give them a bunch of money and resources and give them freedom, they'll probably go and do great things, right? What they found was that wasn't necessarily the case. Those are factors that contribute to whether or not a team is going to be successful. But the number one determinant that they did across all these studies, and again, this isn't some random, like this is Google doing this across, globally looking at the teams and all this, was they found was psychological safety was number one. And what that means is, do I feel safe and protected in my group? Because the people that are willing to take risks, to go that extra mile, to show up on the weekend when no one else does, to close late, to be the ones to really deliver that project are people who are constantly taking risks for the company because they believe and know that the people around them will, if they fall, will protect them, or if they win, will reward them,
sure,
right?
sure,
And so I think it's like it becomes a very common sense argument of investing into your employees, right?
sure.
And look, I'm not one to pass judgment on anyone, but I think from a common, just basic business sense, your business is your employees,
Yeah.
right? So the more you're able to invest into that narrative and story,
Yeah, I
the
agree.
better it turns
I
out.
agree. I agree. Yeah, I think we were always told, just even even on like entry level stuff, you're we're paying attention.
Yeah.
When I worked as a PA for Fremantle Media when I moved to Los Angeles, the little things mattered. So when you stayed late just to do certain things, the associate producers, they paid attention to those things. So
Mm.
they would get you hired on the next thing, and then
Yeah.
you'd move up to production
Right.
coordinator, all
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
things. So those things mattered. So
But here's the
like
thing, but
like you
like knowing you because you knew that someone was there and
right,
looking out for you.
right.
Someone is active look,
Then
they are
you were
actively looking
willing,
for
right,
opportunities to help me
right,
grow.
right,
I just need to show up and constantly show them what I'm able to do.
right.
That
Knowing
trust
that
component.
trust, right. And that's what
Otherwise,
it
why
was.
would you be incentivized to
Because
do this?
otherwise incentivized, right,
Yep.
right, right. And knowing that, I knew that get there early, show up on,
Yeah.
not just on
Yeah.
time, early, because
Yeah.
on time is 15 minutes early,
Yeah.
And so
Or
knowing
be a New
that,
Yorker like me and it's like 30 minutes into the
yeah,
event, you're leaving your place.
exactly. Yeah,
You're texting your friend like, "Hey, is it full yet? Like, is it fun? Like, yeah. Should I have another espresso martini at this bar for a second? Right. Espresso martinis, please. All right. We should have had some while we were doing
Oh,
this.
we should have. Oh my God. I haven't had one of those in a long time.
Actually, I had at the bar I was at yesterday. It was Omaha, a bunch of local Omaha IPAs that they were giving me. There was one like it was like honeybee or
IPAs are
something.
really popular here.
Here, yo, they. I mean,
Really popular here.
they're becoming popular everywhere in the
Yeah,
U.S. and
yeah,
with the travel. But like, these were the ones where it was like these were great. These
yeah.
were amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, beer in general in Nebraska is popular, but IPAs specifically, I mean, are taking off. I've never been a huge IPA fan,
Yeah,
but they're popular here.
yeah.
I'm
Can I tell you why I became a huge IPA fan? I didn't know what an IPA was.
So you're
But
just like,
everywhere I went, every bar had
yeah.
IPAs.
So you
And
just
like,
like,
it was easy to
I'll
just
take
be like,
one. Yeah,
yeah,
just
I'll take one of the
I'll take
IPAs.
one of
Chances
those.
are they only have one or two IPAs, and you'll be
So
like,
I'll
oh,
have one.
you
I don't know
like,
what that is. I'll have
yeah.
one.
Like, what do you think? Is this one? Over the years, I've found that I'll
So you're
read the
just like,
bottles,
I didn't know
the
what it
cans.
was.
I still cannot tell you what an IPA is. But what I can tell you is
India
I've
Pale
learned
Ale.
the little words, the jargon. So
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, is it a little hoppy? Which one's hoppy? You're like, yeah, which one do you like? And they'll be like, oh, this one. But I'll try it.
It's a conversation starter. So yeah.
That and okay, and I mean, you're gonna say
Right.
I keep coming back to espresso martinis, but part of
Right.
the reason I always say that is
It's a
I think
conversation
I don't even
starter.
call them espresso martinis. I call them espressitinis. I think my
Espressitinis.
favorite thing to do sometimes when I'm out with friends is I'll let the entire group order
Oh
their
my
drinks and their food.
God.
Right? They'll go, everyone will go, and
That's
in the end,
crazy.
because I just know the power complex I'm gonna have. Everyone's done. You done? Okay. I'm gonna get espressitini. And immediately you'll see the table go, oh, hey, should I get espresso martini? Espressitinis? Espressitinis? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, yes, follow me, my flock.
I don't think I know anybody that's called it that, but I'll try it next time.
New York, you know what?
See.
Maybe that is maybe it's just a Chirag thing, and this is where it starts now.
I honestly don't know if I know anybody that's called it that, but I'll try it and see if it works. It might just be a New York thing. I don't know.
It might, you
It
know,
might just be an East Coast thing.
But it's with all this, right? So like here, what I've done over the last few years is develop something called the brand clarity framework. And the entire idea there is that people are talking about you,
Sure.
right? Your friends are talking about you, your families are talking about you, your parents are trying to explain what you do for work, right? Your employers are deciding whether you should be promoted or not. And throughout that entire process, the words and the stories that they're using, because that's what they're doing, right? Like just point blank, they're using specific words. They're most likely condensing your entire life or your work down to maybe about 4 sentences. This is who they are, this is what they do, this is what I think of them, and I can connect you, or here's how you could reach out to them or something. Your entire life's work is condensed down into about 4 or 5 sentences when someone is speaking about you. If that's the case, I'm not letting anyone else choose those words. I'm going to be intentional about choosing words that are simple, consistent, repeatable, put them everywhere I possibly can, so that over time, if someone has ever asked, like, oh, what do you think of XYZ brand or XYZ person? They are echoing back the words and the feelings that I have given them. Because people are complex, people are stressed out, they have a million things going on. If I'm relying on someone else to tell my story, I've lost that battle right off the bat.
Yep.
And so once you know these words that you want people to use, right? And they're meant to be simple words, right? Like, for example, for the longest time, I couldn't get my friends to understand what I did for work. Until one day I went on Instagram and I just changed my Instagram handle to Chirag Speaks. The event, I think we had like a Secret Santa or something. And one of my friends made a joke about it and goes, oh, yeah, no, wait, now coming up is Chirag Speaks. And someone goes, oh, is he about to give us a lecture or something, right? And it seems small in that moment.
Right.
But brands are not built
Yeah.
in showrooms or on decks.
Right.
If that was the case, anyone could go and build it. Brands are built in people's living rooms. It's no one, what car do you drive right now?
Honda Pilot.
How you like it?
Love it.
Why?
I mean, it's reliable. I get in, it goes.
Dude, but like you don't go, oh, X number of horsepower, cup holder, this
You're
sliding
right.
door, rear wheel drive.
don't,
You don't. But
I don't
that is
even
what.
know.
But that is what's on
I'm
the
not gonna
marketing
lie to you.
material, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that if I
Yeah.
come to your home, I see the car and I go,
Yeah.
oh, Honda Pilot, I'm thinking about it. Should I get
Yeah.
it? You're gonna tell me certain words. And the
Yeah.
words you're using are very important because they will
Yeah.
shape the decision I make.
Good call.
So I find simple words that can be used in people's living rooms, right? Easy language. And then you find stories. There are
Yeah.
8 types of stories that have what we call the highest resonance potential. The
Okay.
ability to grab people and bring them along with you. Things like your origin story. Where are you from? Am I from somewhere that you are from? Let's go together. Am I from somewhere that you want to be? Let's go there, right? Or
Okay.
it'll be your offering story. Here's the product that I'm offering, or here's a service and stuff. And sometimes it'll be your mythos stories, the myths, the legends around your
I like
brand.
it. I like it.
Right? Where people become sort
Yeah.
of, they get to attach themselves to that identity.
There you
Think
go.
of Duolingo with their bird, right?
Right.
People associate with that bird. That myth is so strong that if people have seen the bird and I mention it, they start laughing and smiling, and instantly we're a tribe. Political factions work the same way. Political slogans, if I say one right now, you immediately will look at that slogan and go, is this my tribe or the other tribe?
Right.
That's the beauty of mythos stories and stuff.
Yeah.
But these are stories that you can learn to tell over time.
Yeah.
And finally, what you do with these stories is that we develop them into what I call your confidence document.
Okay.
Your confidence doc is all your stories written in your tone, in your language, peppered with those echoes, those words that we want people to use. That is your guiding philosophy. And what that does is now, as an individual, I'm incredibly confident. Why? Because I know my stories. When you ask me what I do, it's easy for me to grab a sentence from my origin story. Grew up in a small business family, a sentence from my product story. I, go around the world, speak and market brand historian, blah blah. A sentence from my mythos stories. I've created the brand clarity framework. A sentence from my future story. I'm gonna sell out Madison Square Garden one day. There's nothing that you can toss to me that I can't pull from my stories, the sentences, because I've taken the time to make sure that I know my stories. But then as a brand, why it's so powerful is once you do this, you hire an intern who's going to handle your social media, copy and paste from that doc. Hire someone to build your website, copy and paste from that doc. VP of sales is about to go into a call, copy and paste from that doc. Suddenly, everyone across the entire organization is aligned to the same stories, the same narratives being told over and over and over to the point that they become echoes.
Mm.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, McDonald's.
Yep.
What color is the Tiffany box? Blue. What
Mhm.
color is a New York City taxi cab? Yellow.
Mhm.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? All of these things are echoes, brands that have intentionally fed it into our brains over and over and over again to the point where it's just simple, it's
Mhm.
consistent, and most importantly, over the next 2 or 3 decades, as uncertainty rises, as things become more and more complex for us and noise rises, that simplicity is going to be priceless for people. I have a big, strong, prediction that in the future, more than ever before, because we struggle to communicate with the world around us, the logos, the stickers, and the brands that we choose to surround ourselves with become our way of sharing our identity. The Apple logo, right? It's very famous. Like when it's closed, it's upside down, but as soon as you open it, that logo is for everyone else in the cafe back then to know that you were a creative, tech forward person. Obviously, the meaning is different now. It's more of a consumer thing. But same, I think we're going to see more and more brands go down that direction where the brands I choose to wear are my way of knowing which tribe and what part of my identity I'm holding on to.
Yeah, I think I think that you need to, you know, we need to get with the mayor. We need to come up with
The
the
Omahans.
yeah, we need to come up with a slogan. We need to come up with something.
Yeah,
We need
because
to
there's
figure out.
so much.
So
Yeah.
years ago, you remember Omaha kind of got a little nationally famous on the live with Regis and Kathy Lee, or
I
it
didn't know.
wasn't Kathy Lee. It
Yeah.
was Regis and what's her name? Who took over Regis and now
I don't even know
it's
what the show is, to be honest with you.
well, yeah, come on. It was the morning show on like ABC. Now it's the husband and wife.
Oh, Rita and Kelly? No.
Something like that. Yeah, Kelly and Ripa, Kelly Ripa and the and her husband.
I know what
Kelly,
you're talking.
yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
Kelly and
But I
anyway,
know who. Yeah, yeah,
that show.
yeah.
They Omaha. It's not for everyone. That was the slogan. That's still, I think, today is still the slogan. Omaha. It's not for everyone.
I don't know if I like it.
Or Nebraska. Not for everyone.
I don't know if I like it. It's
But it
exclusionary.
became. It
Yeah, but
is
what does
kind
it
of.
mean? But what does that mean? Like, I
It's
can't
kind
tell
of.
you. Like, okay, what's a New Yorker? Pizza, rap,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Statue
yeah,
of Liberty, grit, hustle,
yeah.
grind,
It's
like,
kind of
what
a.
does this tell me?
It's kind of a joke. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Nebraska. It's not for everyone.
yeah. But
We
the problem with the joke is,
I kind of liked it, but I kind of like it, but yeah, you're right. It's old and it's not great, but that was sort of the thing where it was good enough to make national attention. It kind of wasn't good,
yeah,
but it was good enough to kind of be bad.
no, no,
It was
but
so bad that it was good.
But because it
Yeah.
worked in that era of
Yes.
optimization,
Yeah.
right? In
Yeah.
the past, we've been so focused on this idea of like the last click, the last
Yeah.
interaction, that this performance mindset that we've created over time, which is like just putting something out like
It
that,
was like
right? It
it was almost like it was almost like we had to debate it. Was it good? Was it
Yeah.
bad? Yes.
And it's like, is Nicolas Cage a good actor, right? And you
Yeah.
always find people on both ends, right?
Right.
But so now that worked back then because back then that was exciting, it was novel, it was new, and it stood out.
But still
But
to this day, it's debatable if that's a good slogan, even for Nebraska.
yeah,
And it's still split and people still debate
and
it. And we need to come up with something
yeah,
else. But because Omaha,
yeah,
Nebraska is not like a
yeah.
conversation, that's really the only thing that gets a
Yeah.
national attention.
So
So
uh,
come up with something else.
I'll be bold enough to say, point blank, it could have been good. Maybe it was good. Going into the next 2 3 decades, I think it's bad. The
Yeah.
reason I say that
Yeah.
is because we come back to what I was saying earlier. Uncertainty is going to continue to rise, and over time, what's going to happen is more and more people start to become uncertain of the world around them. they're going to start to ask for reassurance symbols.
Yeah.
I live in Omaha. What does that mean for us? Like,
Yeah. It's not for
I
everyone.
live in
Yeah.
New York City. I live in Long
Yeah.
Island, right? This like my immediate neighborhood around me, right? As things get
Right.
more and more tense, I'm
Right.
reaching out. I'm going, are we one tribe here,
Yeah.
right? Like, what's going on and all? But similarly
You're
here,
right. What is it saying? It's
what is it?
saying
And so in this case, right,
it's not for
people are
everyone.
going to be looking to say like, okay, I live in Omaha. What does that mean? What am I supposed to be do? People are going to look for guidance
Yeah.
on what should
Yeah.
the right action be. What should yeah,
I'm with you. I
yeah.
kind of liked it because it was kind of
Yeah.
just like we need something. It's not for
Yeah.
everyone.
Well, in the era of optimization and attention, dude, it works. It works.
And so I was kind of like, we need something. It's not for everyone.
Dude, I like, you know what I thought was like really cool? I don't know if it's true or not. I'm gonna I would fact check this, but as I was walking to one of the parks, there was the color. These were beams that were orange, like this bright orange color. I was asking some guy nearby, and he said that it had to do with old, like what used to exist there or something. Used to be some sort of factory,
I
and
have
like
to
it
look
was
at it
known for
again.
its iconic orange color or
I
something.
have to look at it again.
And
I guess I
so
don't
when they
know.
were doing this, they pulled that in and had that as accent marks here, right?
Hmm.
But I think that again, Omaha is so rich with its old history and like, and
Yeah.
I love how intentional the city is being about new developments,
Hmm.
also bringing in old culture and history.
Sure.
I almost want to say like, oh, and then oh my God, we didn't even talk about the most important thing,
Yeah.
the ghosts and your freaking underground and everything. So Omaha, because of its
Yeah.
proximity to the river
Yeah.
and everything, used to be filled with like a lot of wholesale businesses
Yeah.
and the railroad and all that kind of stuff. And so the people that used to work in these were called jobbers. We went over this,
Yeah.
right? But in order to actually facilitate a lot of that, they built underground tunnels, right? Which would then be later on used by
The
like the mob and all that kind of
ghosts.
stuff as
Yeah,
well. But
dude.
to
Yep.
this day, a lot of people, in fact, there's like the spaghetti factory, the spaghetti house, some
Yeah.
did
Yep.
you know what I'm
Spaghetti
saying?
factory. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's in like an old warehouse, right?
Yep.
Like, and at the time, people were
Uh-huh.
like, "Who's gonna eat in an old warehouse? Like exposed like pipes and all that kind of stuff, and rats and all." Turns out to be a great family concept, right?
Yeah.
But they were telling me how they have they were convinced that there is a ghost on the in the basement.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and like, but part of it
All
is
these
because these
old
tunnels still
haunted buildings,
exist.
man. Heck yeah. Yeah, and at the Durham Museum,
Dude,
they're
but that's the thing.
convinced
Like,
there's ghosts at the
there's
Durham Museum and
like,
stuff. Yeah,
I
heck
would
yeah.
love for something for Omaha to be
If
like
you go to the Durham, yeah, man, it's wild.
it goes
They're
like I would just love it. It
convinced.
almost like it's it's more than what you would imagine. Like it is the hidden doorway or the gateway to the Midwest, right? Something like that, where it's like it gives. I think Omaha, its original identity was the gateway into the West, right?
Mhm.
And so if we can
But
reclaim
St.
that,
Louis already has because the arch, they've got the
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
St. Louis already has the
But something
gateway
you
to
know,
the
like
West.
play on the history that Omaha has, because I think people don't know about the history.
Yeah, we gotta figure out another slogan. But yeah, that's you're gonna have to
Art and
we're
music
gonna have
too.
to yeah, we have to figure something out. I
But
mean,
it's
Omaha is a Native American word already. It's Omaha tribe,
is
it's
it? Yeah,
it's
yeah,
already a Native
yeah,
American.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, it's already has,
So
but
much
we got to
significant.
figure out anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got to find something. But
but
we need like
yeah,
a slogan,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you know
like
what? Now we're gonna
because
work on this.
Omahan is not a good it doesn't
Omahans, Omahans. No, you know what? We'll find it. We'll find
because
it.
the
Yeah.
Omaha tribe would probably not be happy if we called ourselves Omahans,
I didn't even think of that. That
you
is a
know?
very, very valid one to make. Yeah, 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 yeah. Damn, that completely blanked my mind.
So,
How important it is to have like
yeah.
different voices in a room, right?
Yeah,
Because
right?
if that is a view, I completely would have because
And
I barely in New York City. We barely obviously there's quite a lot of Native American history.
right.
I think I have I'm relatively sheltered from a lot of the
Right.
like
And
Native American stuff.
Council Bluffs across the river, they've got a lot of Native American
Yeah.
history as well, and we're so close to them as well. And
Wow.
so I mean, there's like I said, there's just a lot going on in this area. But I mean, just getting back to kind of
Yeah.
some of the stuff that
Yeah.
you're doing here. But I mean, and to kind of wrap up our conversation, I feel
Yeah.
like. Um, it's important. I wanted to have the conversation with you as
Yeah.
well, because I feel like you're a good voice. I think you would be a very good help for for us
Yeah.
because
I'm flattered, man.
you've got a very good mindset. What we could be doing
Oh,
entrepreneurially in this
yeah.
city, in our town,
Yeah.
and
But you know,
good mindset for
I
us.
would I look, I appreciate that and that really does mean the world. But I think the interesting thing about it is Omaha is it's doing it already.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, sure, sure.
all the things that, you know, we've pitched to other sort of cities and areas, right? In this idea of how do you invest in entrepreneur societies, it's this. it literally looks like on the
Hmm.
right. We think of these massive startups and these huge sort of tech field, right? The reality is those like if I lived in a city that only had that, right, it becomes a very boring city very quickly,
Yeah.
right? What adds to the creativity, what gives that unique edge, what gives that unique perspective. For example, being from New York City, very rarely do I interact with people who are Native American.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you guys do. That's a whole different perspective, an
Yeah.
angle to approach
Yeah.
things, a
Yeah.
whole new different way of telling stories, right?
Yeah.
But most communities, I've learned that story. I can't do anything with that story. Meanwhile, like the space we're in right now is a collective. We're a bunch of artists. And this is one of like, I've seen so many across Omaha. This is a huge signal to me that the city's doing something right because the people are being inspired to do things and they're actually going and putting up the money and investing in a place like this
Right.
is risky. This is risk.
Well, you also something like this in New York would cost a lot.
Ridiculous.
So a space like this in New York would be an exorbitant amount of money. This right here in Omaha, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
So, it's interesting because I was talking to, oh man, I wish I could remember the gentleman's name. I'll share it with you later.
Like I can't even tell you what a space like this in New York would cost.
Way too much. Dude. Are you kidding? A studio space like this, you would be easily 15, 20 grand minimum.
A month.
Month. Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's nowhere near that
No,
here.
no. This is a really cool space. There's a guy who wrote a book about why like music culture, why so much like alt rock, punk rock, I think started like or like he talks a lot about like the musical history of like Harlem and that kind of and the South like Soho area and all that kind of stuff. And he goes part of the reason why New York was such a huge hub at the time was because they had a lot of space and it was cheap
Right.
to get that space, right?
Yep.
And for artists that worked out,
Right.
which is why I think you see,
Yeah.
and so that's why like there was in Soho especially there used to be
Yeah.
so many artist collectives,
Oh yeah, for
so many
sure.
like
For
artists
sure.
would there would be warehouses like these and they would just
Yep.
be sleeping in them, right?
100%.
And we're creating art
Yep.
and supporting each other and
100%.
all that kind of stuff.
100%.
And then of course as art grows, so does money, right? Money
Yep.
runs towards art, right?
Yep.
We get excited, we're fascinated by
Yep.
art. Then affluent individuals move in, the more and more
The
like, and
more
then
and
slowly
more.
they get priced out and
Slowly,
stuff.
yep.
So if anything, I do see it as like I think there are lessons to be learned from what happened in New York, right? But I do also see it as a very optimistic sign. Omaha's on that path.
So so this area has not, gotten gentrified
Yeah.
nearly as
No, yeah.
much as like Williamsburg.
Yeah.
But if this area does turn into like a Williamsburg, then right? Because this is
High
what
potential.
this area like Williamsburg when I lived there was this
Yeah. How's
cheap.
the public school system?
In this area,
No, yeah,
not
yeah.
good.
Well, yeah, because they're tied to
Not
property
as
values and
good.
stuff, right? I
Yep.
think that that's the biggest sort of critique of the American
Right.
system, right?
So it's
For
not
those
as
of you
good.
that don't know, American education system relies on local taxes to fund
Correct.
schools, right? So the
100%.
federal government will come in and do what they can, but
Right.
so if you're living in an affluent house where a neighborhood where the average home price is say a million and plus, the average person is paying say like anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a
Right.
year, right?
Right.
A year, right? Now that goes towards schools and
Right.
stuff, right? Schools and roads and stuff. So obviously you're gonna have
Police,
like you're gonna
fire.
have
Yep.
bigger like in
Nicer,
Long Island for
better
us, right? We
schools.
have I pay two taxes. One of my general taxes, and one is specifically school taxes,
Right.
right? And yeah, and it creates unfortunately this dichotomy between
Are you in Nassau?
I'm in Nassau. Yeah, yeah, we moved out there about 3 or 4 years ago or
Yeah.
so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Look, I
Uh-huh.
love Long Island. I think it's beautiful. I think, and
Yep.
what I've learned over the years is no matter who you meet, no matter what title they have, whatever their beliefs or anything, is everyone has family that they can't stand. Everyone has work that they don't want to do. Everyone has hobbies that they love, right? And for the most part, I'm trying to do as much as I can to try to understand where
Yeah.
people are coming from
Yeah.
because I've found that, it's interesting. I was thinking about this yesterday. Growing up, I think I inherently believed that that we as humanity, the average human is good. Bad or whatever bad may mean to you is created by circumstance, right?
Yeah. Right.
I think as I've grown older and of what we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years, I'm gonna be very honest, has disillusioned me a bit, right? And then as I've studied history and all, what I've found is my belief at the moment, I hope it changes in the future. I think inherently we as humans are selfish creatures. We're selfish, we're tribal, we're warmongering,
Yeah.
we are inherently bad. The decision to be good, to be empathetic, to be ethical is a decision that must be made every moment. And it is infinitely harder to be good than it is to be quote unquote bad, right?
Yeah.
And what does that say about like us in general, right?
It's crazy.
So I
I'm
am,
gonna check to see if that
yeah,
light is still on. Yeah.
no, yeah. But to sort of wrap that up, where
That battery runs fast. So
yeah,
okay, we're good.
to wrap that, I was sorry, we were talking about this from good about this. Oh, to be is to be like Oh, and so I think what I've been forcing myself to kind of turn that into a little bit of a positive is every morning I'm waking up and I'm almost kind of assuming that I'm in the negative to begin with. Today, if I just go about my day the way I want to go about my day, I'm probably going to be really selfish. I'm going to want to take the rides I want to go. I want to go to the places I want to go. I'm going to eat the food I want to eat. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to consume the resources I want to do it. So if I'm inherently in the negative to begin with, then my job every single day when I wake up is to try to do a few intentional good things to try to balance that. I think we've gotten very comfortable with this narrative that we will naturally be good, and to be bad, there has to be some circumstance and decision. I think it's the opposite. We will naturally be selfish. We will naturally be bad. The decision to do good is a decision that you have to make actively every single day. Show up, volunteer to that one place, say hi to that one friend, reach
Okay.
out to that one business, do what you can. And as long as you can do one or two things a day, at least what I've seen over, it's been monumentally changing for my life. So a pessimistic, sad start to that. But I think it's given me a way that I'm trying to do good as much as I can.
That's that's an interesting perspective, and you might be onto something. I mean, I can't disagree entirely. I think the more I'm going to think about that some more.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that I agree with. I used to think inherently we were good. That used to come from my more religious upbringing,
Yeah.
and I think that the older I've gotten and the
Yeah.
more I've experienced life, I've moved away from that
Yeah.
religious upbringing because I've seen that a lot of that religious upbringing was just not really there. Like it
Mm.
really was just
Yeah.
not really real
Mm.
to me anyway. It,
Yeah.
it didn't really bear itself true. And you're right. I
Yeah.
really am starting to see that like selfishness is, it's really, because it's survival,
It's survival.
you
It's
know,
survival. It's
and
evolutionary, right?
yeah, it's this survival of the fittest type thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, how do I survive?
Yeah. It's the point on religion, right? I'm gonna tread carefully here, right? But religion is one of the most iconic historical brands, right? Is because
Yeah.
brands at the end of the day are just the stories that we tell about people and organizations or
Yeah.
philosophies, right? That brands are the words that people are using, right? Let's simplify it to its base meaning. Now, in religion, it's storytelling, right? But what you'll find is every time we have these periods of high uncertainty or
Hmm.
stress, political, societal, technological changes, you'll see a resurgence in people clinging on to religion, right? And that's because I don't religion as a brand as it exists, I believe, is something that is cyclical and seasonal. It will do the job it needs to do, which is in moments of uncertainty, I need a story that'll reassure me that the world is larger than I am, that there is a system, that I have a place in this. But then in times of great economic success and things are roaring, the roaring 20s and stuff, the past few decades that we've had of massive incredible growth where it's like, I have agency. I don't need someone to tell me that there's a system and that I am playing my part in it because I am actively playing my part. So at those times, you start to see religion and its sort of participation drop. And this happens throughout history, cyclical, right? So I think religion at the end of the day, for the way I found it, I'm Sikh, which is Punjabi, right? I've often said that I don't find myself religious because I don't find myself following many of the sort of religious practices, waking up at a certain time, following certain diets, and that kind of stuff. I find myself to be, though, spiritual. I think religion plays a very important part of giving you a guiding philosophy. In Sikhism, there are the 5 Ks, right? The turban, in this case, we have the kara, right, which is the bracelet. All of those things are meant to be identifiers in a crowd. If you are ever in trouble, you are ever scared, and you need help, you find someone with a turban or a kara, and they will protect. It is their moral duty to support you and help you.
Okay.
All our temples are built with, or most of them are built with 4 doors, one on each side. No matter what your race, economic status, your religious preference, whatever it is, if you need a meal, most of them have like kitchens running throughout the day or on like the evenings and stuff. Come in, get a free meal, so long as you respect the rules and stuff. I've pulled that, right? For me to be religious, to be spiritual, is to not necessarily fully go, I am sick and therefore I am against every other tribe. It is to say that fundamentally, what is the principle or the story I want to pull from this? When I say I am sick, the same way we're talking about, like, what does it mean to say that I'm person from Omaha? What does it mean to say that I'm a person from New
Right.
York? That is why these stories matter so much.
Okay.
We love to think that we are unique,
What
but the
are
reality is no.
reality?
We
Yeah.
we are looking for an identity,
Right.
and I think brands and that's where they have immense power, which can be good or bad, right?
Yeah.
To create identities,
Yeah.
right? And give us the opportunity. Like over the next few years, products are going to matter less, the features, because look how fast companies can move now. What'll
Yeah.
matter is it'll come back to say like Apple, right? I'm an Apple user. What does that mean to you,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And brands and religions, organizations, they have over the next decade, you have to be good at telling stories. If you're not going to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
didn't mean to get on a religious.
that's 100%. That's profound. I mean, it's simple. It's
Yeah.
simple, but that makes perfect sense. And that's a good place to wrap it up because
Wait, I actually no. I refuse to wrap it up there. Not until I do this. I met Chad last year, right? I messaged Chad. So every time I go speak anywhere, I find like a local videographer, someone, and hire them come, film a talk. A talk's about an hour long, right? Usually people are showing up with like one camera on a gimbal, one camera on a tripod, bang, we're moving. This guy walks in, Chad, all of a sudden, and this man walks in with this whole like film set equipment, right? These massive cameras, it's amazing. And it was insane to see someone so passionate about the things they were doing. I can't tell you, Chad, how much afterwards I've thought about that. I've told that story to friends and I've shared them the videos, like, look, these are the cameras. And I'm like, this is someone who's just is in it. He loves it, right? And a big reason now I'm back this year to speak at the conference again, right? And I love that. And I'm very, very excited to speak to student entrepreneurs. But a big reason was, dude, I wanted to come. I wanted to do this.
I
I
appreciate
wanted to
it.
be able to say one day that, yeah, like I was
Appreciate it.
there when he's like, this is insane to see, dude.
Yeah, I love doing it. Listen, I think the thing that I appreciate most is it's the putting it's the piecing everything together.
Yeah.
I don't actually really, to be honest with you, I'm not really the greatest on this side of the camera. I much prefer being on the other side because I don't really have anything that profound to say. But I really enjoy putting things together. I like hearing your stories. I think that you're a very good storyteller, and
I promise I didn't do that for the counter compliment, right?
no, you're a very good storyteller, and
For sure.
I like hearing what you have to say. But I I think my favorite thing about it is really just kind of helping you tell the story, and
That means the world. And it
I'm
comes at like when you hire someone to do that, you hope that they're I'll put it this way, we spoke for about 10 minutes in the beginning,
yeah
and then after that, I trusted you. I
yeah.
knew like I was like this guy gets the vision and like you know what? I'm not gonna ask you, are you shooting an S log or in this? No. You are the expert in this case, right? Which was
Yeah.
and like you were looking for my best interest was so clear from literally the first 10 minutes we met.
Yeah, I feel like I have a pretty good idea as far as quality wise. I
Yeah.
feel like I know. There are some other things that I really wanted to do to make it even better, but it takes a little bit more.
I'm gonna put it this way: if
I
you're
need
looking
it.
to hire a videographer, whatever his price is, it's too low to begin with, right? Do it. You are gonna get way more than you would imagine. Man.
Yeah. There's a lot more I wanted to do, but I'm only one person today.
Yeah.
If I bring my crew in, we could have
Yeah.
kind of built a little bit more. But
Yeah.
I'm working with what I can today. But no, like I said, if I could have had my crew today and
Yeah.
I was behind the camera, I would have done more. But anyway, Chirag, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I really appreciate it. The where can we find you? Where can we follow you?
Yeah.
What your Instagrams, your
Yeah.
YouTubes, all the fun stuff.
So everything is on chiragspeaks.com. ChiragSpeaks.
Did we get that right? Are we sure?
Yeah, you know
Okay.
what? Whatever. They'll put them somewhere here, right? But chiragspeaks.com. And then if you're ever on the History Channel and you're ever seeing the show, The Mega Brands That Built America, if you ever watch any of the seasons, I will be popping up throughout the screen. Those are easy ways to sort of stay in touch. And please, if you ever have any questions, want to talk, I love talking to people and meeting new stories and stuff. So reach out, chiragspeaks.com. Right.
I'll make sure to put a lower third or something in the description in one of the places. I really appreciate you being on, and make sure you check us out.
Bang.
All right. Cool.
There we go.
All right.
Awesome. Okay.